Shabbat Shalom. As many of you might know, this is my last week at Judea as the Cantorial Intern, which, as is often the case, aligns very well with this week's Torah portion because we are in the last portion of the book of Leviticus, Parshat Behukotai, and on Saturday evening we will begin the book of Numbers with Bamidbar. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what happens in the book of Leviticus and why that's significant and the order of operations we see here in this week's Torah portion. So in this week's Torah portion and in much of the book of Leviticus, God gives the Israelites the holiness codes and the commandments that they are supposed to follow. This brought to my mind the question of why does God give the Israelites their holiness code years before they ever enter into the promised land? There are stipulations that are specific to the promised land, things that they're not even supposed to do until they enter into the promised land, yet God gives them the holiness code before they ever enter into the promised land, and then they go and wander in the desert. Why is this the case? It must be for a reason, right? There's nothing in the Torah that happens just because it so happens to be that way. And I believe the reason that it's presented in this way is because the Israelites needed to be able to sit with the holiness code for several years, 40 years, before they could really embody what was taught to them in the commandments and before they could fully encapsulate what God wanted with the commandments. It's very similar to when you're growing up and your parents give you certain teachings that they hope one day when you go off to college or when you go off to live your life as an adult, you'll take in some of what they taught you, even if as a 5-year-old, maybe those things don't resonate as much or you have to be taught again and again. This is the same concept with Behukotai and the book of Leviticus. Next week, we'll start reading Bamidbar in the wilderness, and the Israelites will wander in the wilderness. We'll take a census of the Israelites and we'll go forward. But the Israelites will be able to continue to make that journey with all of the knowledge that they've received from God and received from Moses. So I'll be talking a little bit further about that on Friday evening at Shabbat and about how that relates to my own life and my own journey. And I hope to see you all there. I also want to take a moment to say how grateful I am to each of you for helping my time at Judea be as fruitful and as wonderful as it was. I'm deeply sad to be leaving, and I will miss you all dearly, and I hope I'll see many of you on Friday evening. Shabbat Shalom.